Before I talk about a former Georgia player, I need to get something off my chest as a Florida fan. To hell with Georgia. Okay, now I'm ready. Roll the intro. Hello everyone, it has been a while since I made a video covering a player, 3 months to be exact. But this is going to be different from the Bailey Zappi video. I'm going to talk about how good Travon Walker truly is. He is an edge rusher from Georgia and he's been getting a lot of hype lately. A couple months ago he was projected to be a mid-first round pick, but now he is getting a lot of hype as a potential #1 overall pick. And there are rumors that the Jaguars are interested in selecting him over guys like Aiden Hutchinson and Evan Neal. I don't know how true that rumor is. There is always a lot of smokescreen during that time of year, but I still want to talk about Walker and whether or not he is worth the hype. Before I break him down, 99% of you guys that watch my videos are not subscribed. You guys can change that by subscribing to this channel and turning on the notifications so you know when I upload a video. I would also appreciate it if you guys gave this video a like. It helps my channel out a lot. Alright, let's get into it. Travon Walker has insane athleticism, and it is a big reason for the hype he is getting. I want you to look at his ROS chart. If you do not know what that is, it stands for Relative Athletic Score. It is a relative score that can show any measurement on a scale of 0 to 10, where 5.00 is always the average for that position group. Alright, enough chit chat, let's look at his charts. A 9.99 ROS score. He is super fast, has great agility, great size, and explosion. These numbers do not look that elite compared to other prospects in the draft, but these numbers are very elite for someone for his position and his weight, which is 272 pounds. Walker's RAS score ranks 3rd best all time among defensive ends. The only two ahead of him are Myles Garrett with a 9.99 ROS score, who was a 1st overall pick in the 2017 draft, and Brian Johnston with a perfect 10. Other notable defensive ends with ROS scores close to Walker's are Mario Williams, who was the 1st overall pick in the 2006 draft, Gators legend Travon Curse, and Kyle Vanden Bosch. Let's talk about some other notable pass rushers in his draft class and their ROS scores, and compare it to Walker's. Let's first start with Kayvon Thibodeaux, who at one point was considered the lock for the 1st overall pick. His ROS score is 9.63, which is really good for a defensive end, but if you compare Walker's and Thibodeaux's ROS scores, you can see that Walker beats Kayvon in every category: height and weight, speed, explosion, and agility. Now let's look at Aiden Hutchinson's ROS score. He has also received 1st overall pick hype and has a great chance to still be selected 1st overall. Hutchinson has a better ROS score than Kayvon with a 9.88. Unlike Thibodeaux, Aiden has better numbers in different categories than Travon. He has better height for his position, a better vertical, and better agility, but Travon is still more athletic with better weight, speed, and broad jump. Based on what I have shown you, Travon Walker is more athletic than two prospects who have received 1st overall pick hype, and you are starting to understand more why he is receiving so much hype. His athleticism is just too good to ignore, especially when he has the same ROS score as Myles Garrett, who is considered by many to be one of the best pass rushers in the league, and just recently came off a season where he made a good case for Defensive Player of the Year. But is Travon Walker's insane athleticism enough to justify the hype? Block shedding is an important thing to me in a pass rusher, and there are many ways to shed blockers, like using finesse moves that are intended to get around a blocker and occasionally use a technique against that said blocker, and power moves which are intended to knock down the blocker, which is basically another way of describing bull rushing. Many pass rushers like to utilize both moves, especially Kayvon Thibodeaux and Aiden Hutchinson, but that is not the case for Travon Walker. I can't show clips from games he played due to copyright, but if you watch any of his highlights or any of his All-22 films, you'll notice a common theme. Walker does not like to use finesse moves. He'll sometimes use them, but really he's more of a power rusher. Now, you don't have to utilize both moves to be a good pass rusher in the NFL. Many pass rushers tend to focus on one move. Cam Jordan does have nice power, but he tends to be more of a finesse move guy. And Rashawn Gary, while he sometimes is good with finesse moves, he tends to be more of a power rusher. The point is, you can survive in the NFL by prioritizing one pass rush move, but utilizing both will make you more of an elite pass rusher than you already are. Travon Walker can use his athleticism and power to knock down blockers, and can probably be an elite pass rusher at the next level, but it would be nice if he added more to his pass rush arsenal. Production is a trait scouts will look for in a prospect. You can have all the talent in the world, but can you produce on the field? Kayvon Thibodeau has had great production with 19 career sacks, 35.5 career tackles for losses, and being a unanimous All-American in 2021. Aiden Hutchinson had 17.5 career sacks, 27.5 career tackles for losses, winning many awards in 2021, and being a unanimous All-American in that same year. I will say that 2021 was the only year he was truly elite, but every year besides 2020 when he played only 2 games, he was showing progression. But what about the subject of the video, Travon Walker? He has 9.5 career sacks, 13 career tackles for losses, and no awards. In fact, 2021 was the only year he was productive. In his first 2 years before 2021, he had 3.5 sacks and 5.5 tackles for losses. These numbers have people worried that he is a one-year wonder and question if he's worth drafting in the top 5. Earlier I talked about a guy who is very similar to Travon Walker. That guy is Rashawn Gary, who was selected 12th overall in the 2019 NFL Draft by the Packers. Like Walker, Gary had the highest raw score out of all the defensive ends in his draft class, with a 9.95. And Gary has similar college career numbers with the same amount of sacks and having more tackles for losses. Gary just came off his breakout season with the Packers, producing 9.5 sacks and 8 tackles for losses, and he is just getting better. Another guy that had a high raw score and a lack of production in college is Danielle Hunter, who was selected 88th overall by the Vikings. Hunter had a 9.89 raw score, the highest in the 2015 draft class out of all defensive ends. At LSU, he had 4.5 sacks and 21 tackles for losses. In the NFL, Danielle Hunter has had 3 seasons with 10 or more sacks. He has 60.5 career sacks, 73 career tackles for losses, and 2 Pro Bowl honors. It is not rare for someone like Travon Walker to have insane athleticism and lack of production in college. Something else that should help Walker's case is he was part of a Georgia defense that had the second most sacks in the SEC with 41, and Georgia had an insane amount of talent. Most of that talent was always in the backfield, like Nakobe Dean, Jordan Davis, Channing Tindall, Nolan Smith, and Devontae Wyatt. And there's some other guys he played with in his first 2 years, but I think you get the point. If he was not on a team that always had stacked defenses, he would have produced more in college. The lesson here is his lack of production is not that big of a deal. I get being worried about a highly talked about prospect being a one-year wonder, but he is too talented. I just don't see him randomly falling off. Now that I have gone over Travon Walker and his best traits, you guys have an idea of how good Walker truly is, and you guys most likely have your opinions about whether or not he is worth the first overall pick hype. But what about my opinion? The title of my video asks if he is worth the first overall pick hype, and I have yet to answer that question in my own video, so I'll go ahead and answer it now. I do not think he should be the first overall pick of this draft. The Jaguars should use it on Evan Neal, but edge rusher is most likely the move for them, and if they are going to pick one, it should not be Travon Walker. I think he is a top 3 edge rusher in his class, and he is worth a top 10 pick, but I just don't think he's the best in his own position group. I will reveal who I think is the best in a different video. My reason for Walker not being the best is his techniques are good enough to sell me on him being number 1. Yes, I said that he would survive in the NFL with him being mainly a power rusher, and he has a great chance to be elite, but when you have guys like Aiden Hutchinson and Kayvon Thibodeau, who are pretty good at utilizing both finesse and power moves and are very athletic, it's hard for me to say that Walker is better than both. If he can add more to his pass rush arsenal, he will be better than one of them or maybe both. As he is right now, he'll be a pretty good edge rusher. It's rare for a guy at Walker's position with insane athleticism to fail in the NFL, so he will be a damn good player in the league, and I will be interested to see who picks him and how he will be used, since he can play both inside and outside, and power rush moves tend to work better if you're an interior defensive lineman. But his athleticism is also pretty damn good for an edge rusher. He may not be the best of his position group, but he is definitely the most interesting one. Also, the fact that the most athletic edge rusher in his class is not even the best in his own group is insane. It really says a lot about how stacked this edge rusher class is. And that is my thoughts on Travon Walker. Let me know if you guys agree with me or not about how I feel about him. I am curious to see what you think about him. I will try to be as active as I can on my channel before the draft. I have a busy outside life, so I can't guarantee I will upload a certain amount of videos, but there will be some, I promise. You guys have a wonderful day, and I will see you guys later. Peace.